That'd be awesome.
Let's rock and roll. Yeah, awesome.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Sean Cease at Humantic AI at the Authentic Sales Leaders Live podcast with Joel Mandelbaum, the number one best-selling author in several categories. I believe it's six. The title of his book is Winning Online: Increase Your Visibility and Crush Your Competition. Sounds pretty aggressive. I like it. Joel, welcome to the live.
Thanks, Sean. Much appreciated. Thanks for having me today.
No problem. You look like you should be sitting with Jerry Seinfeld, like you're comedians in driving cars or something. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's I have such a busy schedule that sometimes I don't make it back to the office or somewhere more comfortable. So hey, why not pull over? It's the days of mobility. So here we are.
Yeah. So before we hop in and start to extract everything we can from your brain in this 30 minutes here, and everyone who's joined us, we keep this pretty tidy at the bottom of the hour. We're going to end this and let you know how you can get a hold of Joel. But Joel covers a lot of ground. I would say full funnel, full cycle, full channel, full everything. And so I'm going to try to kind of bullet point it off, and I'm going to say pay per click, SEO, inbound, outbound, networking, interactive live events, dark social. What did I leave out, Joel?
LinkedIn lead generation.
LinkedIn lead generation, of course. So we should just I'm going to put on my list here, social selling, right?
Social
Social
selling. That's the best way to
social
put it.
selling. I think I got carried away. I went too far and said dark social. All of the different community groups, WhatsApp, Slack. Right? There's a endless number of those that you can be
Yeah.
involved with. Right? People rip it online. So that's great. Now, so let's jump right in and start to tear this down a little bit, and feel free to redirect me here a little bit from the original conversation we had. But you shared something with me that's kind of close to my heart. You said you weren't mincing words whatsoever. You shared with me B2B is all about conversations. And I would imagine that in there that there's probably something about the way sales used to be compared to how they've been the last couple of years, where they're going now. Are you saying that B2B all about conversations, kind of cuts through every channel, everything? What did you mean by that?
So in most B2B, it's not like I'm coming to your website, plunk down my credit card, just buy a product or something like that. It does require a conversation, and almost every B2B or um, professional requires a conversation. So if you're marketing your business and your B2B, cutting through everything, really what you're looking for is to have conversations with the right people, with enough people, leveraging your time so you're not spending hours and hours a day prospecting. Notice I said prospecting, I didn't say selling or marketing. So, how do you leverage your time, reach out to as most people to create conversations with the right people? I like to use an analogy. I'm Jewish, so I can use this analogy.
Do it.
I say to my clients, if you're looking for someone that's Jewish, you shouldn't be going to a church. But
Interesting.
metaphorically, most people will go to church because they might think they meet someone that might know somebody that's Jewish. So, really, you should be going right to the synagogue. You should be going right to where your clients hang out. If you're B2B, that could be that could be Facebook, that could be Instagram, but more so LinkedIn. That's where almost every B2B company is. Professionals are, I don't know, there's almost 900 million people on LinkedIn. I would say it's the best platform if you have a B2B business to reach out to not only your potential clients, but also for recruiting. Really, really great platform for both.
For
So
finding people
creating
for
conversations, yeah, sorry. So creating conversations, instead of, I'm not saying email marketing doesn't work, it works very well. But if that's still trying to create a conversation What if we're reaching out to people directly and being social while we're at reaching out to them, not salesy, not spammy, not, hey, I see we have a connection in common, so let me dump a bunch of stuff into your LinkedIn chat, hoping you're going to respond to me. None of that works.
Yeah.
So it's the
You
art of
you
social selling and creating conversations. Yes.
Yeah, and you said something interesting in there, and I think there's probably a light bulb moment in there, and that's one of my favorite things is to learn from other professionals. You said not marketing, not selling, but prospecting. What's
Right.
the difference? What do you mean?
So marketing on LinkedIn, you're doing LinkedIn ads, maybe,
Hmm.
maybe you're running funnels, you're posting stuff for people to buy or to sign up. Me, that's marketing.
Hmm.
Sales is someone reaching out to you on LinkedIn and being salesy. Hey, we have a couple connections in common, thought I'd connect. So they use the bait and switch. What they should be saying is, hey, you look like you could be a client of mine. So I want to inundate you with a bunch of content you'll never read because that's how I am. And if I do it with enough people, I'll probably get someone responding. And that's sales, salesy. Prospecting, look, we're on a professional platform. I would consider LinkedIn a professional
Hmm.
platform over a social platform. So business people are pretty smart and keen when people are trying to sell them. I'm not saying non-business people aren't, but we're talking professionals on LinkedIn. Everybody goes to LinkedIn. Everybody knows people are reaching out. People on LinkedIn know that people reach out to you to do business, but it's how you reach out. It's how you have that conversation. When I reach out to people, we have a platform that we developed for LinkedIn that solves most of the problems. And some of the people that I work with used to work at LinkedIn, so we have a little extra knowledge, if you'll say. But
Little insider there, huh?
little insight, you got to have a
Yeah,
slight edge if you want to win online.
I think
You
so.
have to. So if you're
That's
doing what
fair.
everyone else is doing, you're just going to get the same results as everyone else. You've got to be continually innovating and trying new things. So, the difference between prospecting is more social. So the idea is you're reaching out to someone. Don't tell them what you do when you first reach out to them. They're a human. How would you like that's the old door to door salesman technique, interrupting me and then trying to sell me something.
Hmm.
That's old school. What people want to do, you want to create relationships with people. Obviously, someone who's your target, as I said, want to go to that synagogue. Or if you want to meet someone that's Catholic, you go to church, not a synagogue.
Hmm.
So where do your clients hang out? If they hang out on LinkedIn, then you should be reaching out to them on LinkedIn. But your conversation, your hello, how's it going? When you meet someone for the first time, you don't say, hey, how's it going? Let's go to bed. You want to have a coffee. You want to get to know the person. You want to make sure that you can help that person in business. It's a selfless approach that almost always works because it's not about me being first. It's about, hey, you and I have some stuff in common. Thought we'd connect. That's it. Nothing more. You're never going to sell off the first pitch. People don't generally buy after the first meeting, unless you have something that's so incredible no one else has that I need it right now. So have a conversation, be a human. So when you reach out to them, take a look at the person's profile, see if they could be a target. I mean, I had someone today send me a LinkedIn request. Of course, I connected, and then they came back to me wanting to know if I get enough leads on LinkedIn. Seriously,
did you did you look
I
at
mean,
what I do for a living?
did you look at what I do? Did you reach out to me? Did you even ask a question? It was, hey, just so you know, we're doing this. I just responded. I said, look, ditch the pitch. I'm unconnecting you. Not interested. Because really, or I would rather somebody who's in an industry company that I can't even associate with reach out to me and say, hey, just love what you're doing. Saw you wrote a book. Would love to connect. They will get my connection. And
Yeah.
if they're going to start pitching me after that second connection, it still shouldn't be that. Let's just start a conversation. Let me learn a bit about you. Maybe we hop on a call. Let me find out what some of the things are that keep you up at night. And if I can't help you, then maybe there's somebody else I know in my network. that could help you. The average person has over 200 people in their network. So the
Hmm.
chances are maybe I don't need your service, but if I have a good experience with you and I know someone that could use your service, you're getting that referral. And especially if you help me solve a problem, the law of reciprocity, we all have that ingrained in our brain. So we'll feel the need to reciprocate if somebody does something. Now, obviously, if you're giving someone, you're giving someone some referrals, or you're reaching out to someone and it's not coming back and it's just take, 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 you may want to, consider another relationship, business relationship. So having a good conversation with somebody, if you were introduced to a friend by a friend, would you start pitching and selling them?
Yeah.
Probably not. So
What
same
what are,
rules.
what are your thoughts? Because this is pervasive, right? I mean, there's no shortage of people, how would you say, executing poor outreach. I mean, you just gave us a live example of what happened to you this morning. It's going to happen to you again before the day's out. It's going to happen to me. I'm going to receive messages in my LinkedIn direct message inbox from people that I just connected with that are obvious, automations, not best practices, so on, just flat out saying, hey, could I get you more leads for your business, is what it's going to say, because we can and we're the best at it. So there's no secret that happens all day, every day. Why
Right.
why do you why do you why do you think people have sales leaders, organizations have a proclivity to bring their email spam and their outbound spam bad processes directly to LinkedIn when they know better? You know what I mean? Because it seems like people just go over to LinkedIn and say, hey, let's just continue to spam. Let's continue to do mass cold email on LinkedIn and forego. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I can't speak for them, but why do you think that is? Are they lazy? Do they not know any better? Are they desperate? People come to you to solve this problem, and so what was going on before they called you?
I think it's a bit of a few things. I think they may have had success. I don't want to belittle the power of email marketing
Sure.
or, lead gen, because, there is a place for that. I do a lot of email marketing. I'm actually doing an event next week in the Toronto area, 105 business owners. I'm co-hosting and speaking. I'll be talking about LinkedIn, and a lot of people I talk to are still doing the same old, same old. What worked before doesn't necessarily work on this platform. Why are they doing it? I think they may have had some success, so they're trying to duplicate it. They just don't know better. I mean, if they know better, and if they've been doing it on LinkedIn and they're continually getting bad results, it's kind of that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, trying to get a different result. Unfortunately, some marketers think that if I just do it long enough, eventually it will come through, and that's not the case. If you're a business to business, and let's say as an example, you're doing Google ads and you don't have a good landing page, you're not going to get the business. You need to change something. You need to do something. You need to manage. I can't remember if it was Dennings that said, what gets measured gets managed. So any company that is just arbitrarily doing stuff and they're getting a very low ROI or getting very low response rate, you should be immediately looking at other options and other things to do. I would say it's part ignorance. And I would say it's also maybe just lack of being creative.
Yeah, and on this topic, you shared with me when you mentioned you can't manage what you don't measure. You shared with me a pretty compelling metric that you measure, and you shared with me that it's either a goal or it's something that you've actually measured and you've actually achieved it, which is saving your clients 2 hours a day. And I think that was the number that you used. And I don't remember from our conversation if that was a goal or something that you've measured and said, actually, I've got proof and references and so on to say that we've achieved these results.
Right. Yeah, actually, we save our clients. If you take an average salesperson that's doing reach out, and
Hmm.
let's say they're doing reach out on LinkedIn, how many people do you need to reach out to on a daily basis to hit those right? Even if you're targeting, I don't like to use the word target. Let's say building a dream list using your sales navigator and reaching out to those people. Of course, you're going to get no's, you're going to get not interested, wrong time, we're not sorry. But if your message is right and you're hitting the right people, you're going to get those conversations. So when it comes to, sorry, forgot the question in mid sentence.
No. I do this, I do
Right.
it all the time when I start riffing and start talking out loud. I understand. My question was, you mentioned saving clients 2 hours a day, and I was asking if that's a
Yes,
measurable
correct, correct,
result or
correct.
just
Sorry.
just a North Star.
Yes, no, we actually say so. An average person that would be reaching out to people on LinkedIn to write personalized messages, say to 15, 20 people a day, it's going to take you time. And then you're going to have to be tracking who you're reaching out to see if they actually connected with you. And if they connected with you, did they actually type in a response or was it just a lazy hit connect button? We really want to track all of these things. So if you're reaching out to a certain amount of people, make sure you know who you're reaching out to. You need to go over your messaging, make sure that your messaging works. Check it out every couple of weeks. See what your response rate's like. See what your connection rate is like. So I would say that the average salesperson to achieve this will need to spend 2 to 4 hours a day. I've had clients tell me that we've been able to save them as much as 4 hours a day, on average, a couple of hours, because we automate part of the reach out.
Hmm.
Part of the reach out. We don't have a fully automated system because we don't believe that most people, most business owners, are as proficient at outreach on LinkedIn as they could be. So we hop on a call with them every 2 weeks to help manage and help to optimize their campaign. I've been in sales since probably I was 5 years old,
Hmm.
just didn't know it. So, of course, I help the client, my team helps the client. So, we really work together with the client. So, yeah, saving them from all the reach out because we're doing the messaging, the social messaging for them. Really, they're just kind of waiting for people to respond instead of spending all their time prospecting on the platform. So, we kind of take care of that for them.
Yeah, and it's in what I think I heard you say in there is that there are several things that we can and should automate. In other words, everything that can be automated should be automated. But in the game of sales, the personal touch, and not even necessarily communicating with the client, but actually going back and reviewing what the automation revealed or surfaced for us, takes a little bit of human interaction to digest and decide, okay, what is the next motion that automation really can't do? Because if it did, it would be too generic.
Right.
It
Yeah.
sounds like
I mean,
that's what you were saying there.
yeah, you have to be careful. If someone thinks you're sending them an automated message, they're gone.
Right.
So when we write the messaging for the client, it is personalized to that person specific. So it does not, it's funny because I've actually made friends through our system, just people
Hmm.
that reached out.
Yeah.
They may not have been an ideal client, but you shouldn't be transactional. You should be relationship based. So even if I meet somebody that's not, couldn't be a client, still a human. You never know who they know, still can have great conversations. And I've met friends like that and not told them that I originally met them through a reach out campaign. And when I tell them, they don't believe me. It's pretty funny. So
Yeah.
that tells me that we're getting the right messages to the right people without them feeling. I would say I have had a couple of people now. I've ran my campaign for over 2.5 years and sent out over 15,000 connection requests. I would say out of those 15,000, I've only had two people that responded negatively, like literally typed in something after the first message. And my first message is just, hey, see, you're a seasoned sales pro. Thought I'd connect and ask you a couple questions. That's it. So how does
Yeah.
that sound spammy? And I get a lot of good connections, but you really want to make sure, and that's why we're very, very particular because it's the messaging that's going to create the conversation. Your profile, of course, that's something you need to have done properly. You need to have a good website because this is where people will look to gain that trust factor. So yeah, got to be careful what you're automating, especially on your outreach. But when you can send out messages that are personalized, you get a much higher connection rate. And then you want to track and
Yeah.
measure and manage what has the result. So yes, be caveat.
Hmm.
If you're reaching out to people in manufacturing, then your message shouldn't say, hey, I see you're in retail. That's
Yeah.
just going to fail. So, you really have to make sure who you're targeting, that there is some personalization to your message.
Yeah. In that, like you say, automate what you can, but then it's still, be human, where you need to
Yes.
So we're using automation and data to surface insights, who to connect with, and how to connect with them. But then when it's time to connect with them, it's time to be human. It's funny. It's funny because at the very tip top of the funnel, I've developed a kind of hey, the purpose why I was called was to introduce myself and get some time on the calendar. And I'm paraphrasing here, of course, but my initial interaction with somebody is always like, let's get together and have a chat and see what we can shake out of the trees. And if we
Right.
can, we'll shake hands and be referral partners or help each other where we can or whatever. Any objection to doing that? And usually that appeals to people who, yes, are looking to grow and do things. Otherwise, people are like, hey, there's no value in that. Don't do that. And probably somebody who I'm not really interested in doing business with, anyways, because it's just like we're not going to talk today and do business tomorrow. It's not likely. Let me, on that same thread about uh, automating what you can and then being a human being. Um, there are over the last few years, and I'm going to talk about tech stacks and the people who approach you. One thing that I have noticed, if you just go back in time 5 or 6 years or so, and you look at the availability of sales and marketing technology, like sales and martech tools, right? You go back 6, 7 years, there were 500 of them or something like this, and then you go a year forward, there were 1,000, then 2,500, and last couple of years it was 5,000. I quit paying attention to the Martech Lumascape website, but I'm sure it's over 10,000 tools now, that are available for people to use, or in the worst case, 10,000 tools that SDRs are sending out 21 touch emails to every senior marketing leader, or so the noise is too much, right? My question for you is, how often do you run into people who've built, a 5, 6, 7, 10 piece tech stack, but haven't really, tied it together or had a piece or glued it together and actually made it functional? Let me give you a succinct question. Does does adding more tools sometimes seem to cause people to create a gap between their prospects? In other words, it's not working the way they would, and you've got to come in and say, hey, here are the tools, how you use them, and so on. Do you see that in any of your, consulting or services, that issue?
Yeah, I actually see in some cases too much tech
Yeah, too much
because they
tool.
love
Yeah,
what it does. They love what it does. They don't connect it together, too much to your point, or they love what it does and then they just don't want to spend the time necessarily learning it, or they have the wrong tech stack because it's not getting the results that they want. But no matter what type of tech you're using, there still has to be a human touch to it.
yeah,
There must be a human element to it.
yeah,
So sometimes I go into a company because I do provide some fractional CMO services in some cases to some of my clients. And sometimes I'm asking, like, why do you even have this?
yeah.
Well, the sales guy loved it and he hasn't been with us for a couple of years and we're paying a subscription, hundreds a month and blah, 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 or
We
thousands a
got to
month.
use it. We got to use it. We're paying for it. We got to use it,
Yeah,
right?
we
We're
got
paying
to
for it.
use it. No, maybe you should stop paying for it and stop using it because you're not. If it's not going to integrate within your company, no matter how magical it is, if your
Yeah.
employees aren't going to buy into it, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
So,
that golden question there sounds like, if you stopped using it today, how would that impact your pipeline, right? Would you notice?
right.
Would you notice? And if you didn't, it's like, give me that money or save it or something, right? That like, what do
Put it
that
into
situation?
something that works
Yeah,
or
or
put it into
save it. Yeah,
something that could work,
yeah.
not something that's not working.
Let's strip this thing down a little bit. Yeah, I always think that it's like taking a 16 or 17-year old who's in driver education and putting him in a Formula One car or something and expecting him to do a couple of hot laps. Right, that car is going to end up in the wall right now. Right, I mean, that's
Before
all
the
there is
first
to it. Or they're
turn.
gonna, yeah, they're gonna run over somebody in the pit crew or something. Right, it's not going to be a team effort. It's gonna be a waste. So and I asked specifically about binding the tools together because I wanted to ask you about humantic and being human, and in your practice and the things that you're sharing and teaching with people, the availability of insights. Actually, real quick before that, Aru is letting us know in the background, our moderator here, that we had a question. Do we miss that one, Aru? There we go. We have a B2B product, a React native boilerplate for a Web3 app using which you can create an MVP within a few hours. What would you suggest to find potential customers on LinkedIn? I'm having a hard time understanding what that question is, Joel. Can you can you translate that
So,
or?
Yeah, let me wow, that's an interesting question. So I don't fully understand it either, but what I will tell you is that the only way you're going to filter people properly on LinkedIn is through Sales Navigator.
Yeah,
So
that
regardless
was
of the
what was.
tech So regardless of the tech stack you're using, we require our clients to have Sales Navigator. We
Yeah.
require that. It's the only way you can get into LinkedIn and build a dream list of potential clients. So you really need to know who your target avatar is, your dream client, and what does that look like? Can you go onto LinkedIn and use the filters to build that list of those potential customers or prospects on LinkedIn? And if you can, I would say that's the best way to do that. Now, if you have a program, a CRM that can integrate into LinkedIn and pull in those leads, now you're a little ahead of the game. And now you can reach out to them and send out personalized messages through their LinkedIn chat, not necessarily through email. Yes, email marketing is there, but talking to business owners, I've tried it once or twice. People wonder, how did you get my email? You say, well, I got it from LinkedIn, okay, but here in Canada, we have very, very strict anti-spam laws.
Sure.
So if I didn't actually give you my email, hitting connect is a form of consent, yes, but these are from people that I haven't even necessarily connected with. And if you're just going to email a list of people using a maybe Rocket Reach or Zoom Info to grab their email, you're spamming again. You got to stop the spam. You got to stop the pitching. You got to create that conversation. So instead of emailing them, use their chat.
Hmm.
Look at it this way. Ask everyone. I bet that everyone that's watching today and everyone that's going to watch, do you respond quicker to your emails or do you respond quicker to a text message? I would say probably text message is more quick because we see the ding. Now, if you got your email notifications on, you're either a very busy executive or you have
Hmm.
nothing better to do. I don't have any notifications on my phone because I like to focus on what I'm doing in the moment. So if
Yeah.
you're using any kind of tool, tech stack, make sure it's through their LinkedIn chat because it's much more, you have a much higher response rate and much quicker through a chat than through an email.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that you're more in tune to the channel that people are actually using today. It may not be that in next year or whatever, but today, like you said, phone in hand, texting, social texting, commenting, things like that are very, very, 100 to 200 character succinct, back and forth asynchronous communication is hot, right? I mean, it's hot, hot, hot. Um,
Absolutely.
so okay, so good. I was asking you about binding the tech stack together. In my question in there was using the Humantic AI personality, profile insights. Looking at a LinkedIn profile and having Humantic
Mhm.
explain to you in detail what this person's personality type is, how it contrasts with yours, how you would approach them, how you would write an email. Are you using that or finding that to be kind of a glue or something that kind of traverses the whole entire tech stack that can step by step help people drive deals down the funnel? What's your experience and how are you using Humantic in your stack or your outreach, your strategy?
So I actually love Humantic enough that I give every client their first 3 months of using our lead gen or recruitment system, because we do both with it, complimentary.
Hmm.
So 3 full months, I give them a brief training. And the reason I actually partnered and started working with Humantic is because I had some clients that just, some people are great at sales. Some people are good business owners, but
Hmm.
horrible at sales. It's just not in their personality.
Well,
In a
their
disc profile,
personality, their DNA,
if you
yeah.
have a
Hmm.
green or blue, which is generally a steadiness or a calculativeness, those aren't the type of people that do reach out. It's the reds, the dominants, the influencers. Those are the
Yeah.
ones that really have the conversation. So um, it helps them to understand who they are going to be speaking with, so they're not being what I call ego conversationalists, where it's just like who I am and talk the way I am. I do not hop on a call with any prospect or any new person until I do their Humantic assessment. And then, if they have the same personalities me, hey, it's just blab away, Joel, because they're
Yeah, go
probably
for it.
just like you. But if they're not, I'm very, very careful in looking at the insights, not just from the sales side, but also for the hiring side, because you'll get extra insights into their personality.
Yeah,
And so when I realized that some business owners just aren't great at sales, you could give them the best leads and they fumble the ball. Nobody's going to win. Doesn't matter whose fault it is. Nobody's going to win. You're not going to get that repeat business. And of course, the client's going to walk away thinking they spent a lot of money and they lost a lot of money. And on my watch, I don't want any of my clients losing money. So by integrating Humantic with our platform, so the client, once they book an appointment with this person, they can go on their LinkedIn, they can understand, or even, sorry, let me step back a minute, when they start responding to this client, once our messaging cuts off, you should be looking at Humantic and understanding how you run that conversation. In fact, I use it as, when I'm presenting my platform, I use it as the grand finale. And I say, but wait, there's more, just like in the old, you know, uh, 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 what was it, the commercials, late night commercial days, Ginsu knives and all
yeah, yeah.
that.
Wait,
They
there's
kind of
more.
look at me, they like kind of look at me like, what are you talking about? But that gets them interested. And then once I show them, Humantic, it helps me to close the deal and helps them to understand that if they have issues with selling or prospecting or conversation, not sure what to say or how to say it, use the platform. Use
Yeah,
Humantic and you'll learn. And I've had clients come back to me and say, I'm so glad that I've had it. I've actually had some clients who switch to other jobs. They're not in sales anymore. And they reach out to me saying, hey, that AI you use on LinkedIn, I'd still like to use that. Is there any way that I could continue? And of course, I'll give them, I'll give them a break on the pricing and sign them up for a year. So
yeah,
I've actually had clients that have just been Humantic clients.
sure.
It's, to me, it's something that is a necessary stack to your lead gen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like you have figured out ways to pretty much make it the glue. Because I heard you say that even in your personal professional outreach, that you're really not going to approach anyone, go to a meeting, or do anything without examining their Humantic AI profile, their personality profile, to get insights so that you can adjust, modify, or in the best case, realize that, hey, we're the same personality type. Let's rock and roll. If we're not, let me be careful, cautious of my approach, cautious of my tone, cautious of my pace. I even what how much can I push them on call to actions, things like this, right? Those things start to surface. What can I get away with, or how can I make this a really, really great interaction engagement with my prospect for them so that we make the best use of the time?
Absolutely. And you know what? I've even had clients say, that is scary accurate.
Hmm. Yeah.
I say, well, it's the age of AI now. Either you better, and let me just make a comment to everybody that's listening. You have to ask yourself this question: what are you doing in terms of AI with your business? If you remember, a bunch of years ago, this funny new thing came out called the internet. And
Hmm.
companies that adapted, look at how big they are. Companies that didn't adapt got crushed. You don't want to be blockbustered, and I'm going to use that term, with AI, because if your competitors are using AI to make decisions that you have no clue on how to make, they're going to be running circles around you. So I'm not saying just jump on board with any old AI, this or that. Do your research and see what the AI can do for your company to help either your sales team or make macro decisions, because it's coming and it's going to be faster than the internet. I know Bill Gates said that, but I said that years ago too. So Bill Gates is Bill Gates, but I'm
Yep.
Joel Mandelbaum and I also have a voice too, and I saw it coming and it's here.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And one of my favorite all-time quotes up there with a handful of them is one of Bill Gates, where I can't quote it exactly because I wasn't ready to, but technology is going to amplify suck or amplify excellence, right? In that,
That's a good one.
right? I mean, it's something like that, So great, Joel. I can't thank you enough for joining me. We're at the bottom of the hour. Joel's book is, again, #1 best-selling author in several categories. The title is Winning Online: Increase Your Visibility and Crush Your Competition.
It's on
We're going to have a
Amazon.
Yeah, on Amazon. We're going to have a link to get a hold of them, but I'll let you close it out with, how to get a hold of you and so on, Joel, and we'll wrap it up.
Sure. So what I can do is I can put my link where you can book a call with me. I'll leave that where you can book a 30-minute strategy call with me. We can talk about what your prospecting is like on LinkedIn. Maybe I'll be able to offer you a few pointers where you can improve your prospecting effectiveness. If you're interested in seeing what we can do for you, would love to have that conversation. And if not, definitely uh, be able to help you prospect better and leave you with a few points and a few valuable tips. So I've just put it in the chat now. I put it in the private chat because it doesn't allow me to comment unless I connect my YouTube.
I'll take care of
so
that.
I don't want to try that.
That's right. We'll get a Rue to put it in there for you. They'll know how to get a hold of you. So perfect. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. Joel, we're just going to end this thing here. We'll be in the backstage for a second, and then we'll wrap it up. So thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. Happy selling. Happy hunting.